I would first like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to allow me to present this to you. In my current course, Seminar 2, we were asked to address a topic that was near and dear to our hearts and create a case study paper, a PowerPoint, and oral presentation. The topic I chose was the lack of recognition when it comes to tragic events in our world. The title I came up with is We Are Not to Conform to the World, but We're Not Supposed to Be Blind to It. So let's think about the events that are occurring right now. There's shootings, bombings, disappearing airplanes, earthquakes, floods, tornadoes, social injustice, and I'm sure that I've missed some events with this list. I know it's small, but I'll read it to you. Over the last year, we have witnessed many events that have happened locally, nationally, and globally. Many of these events are the results of those who do not agree with a person, race, gender, sexual preference, even religion. As a Christian, I feel that we are to address these major events and use the opportunity to spread the message of hope and love through Christ Jesus. In these times of tragedy, I have found that many Christians tend to choose a side, or they do not want to speak up on the issue. They shy away for the opportunity to make a difference in the world. There is an article from the Salem Press Encyclopedia of Health, Groups, and Social Behavior. Here they address the different cause and effects that happens when a particular group comes together to focus on how events affect them separately and as a whole. When events are not addressed, they can create a negative environment. We need to start addressing these concerns. Events. Why are we quiet? I ask myself this question often. Why are we quiet? Why haven't we addressed these concerns that impact our society? What are we waiting for? The true question, I think, is why? Well, I've come up with a few things that I found that were personal to myself. One of them was fear. I think a lot of people fear addressing a situation that doesn't necessarily impact them. Fear of what other people are going to say. Fear to be separated from their initial group. But in Isaiah 54:5, it says, "Do not be afraid. You will not be put to shame. Do not fear disgrace. You will not be humiliated." So knowing that verse there, that with God I don't need to be afraid, this should not be one of my concerns, but it is. The next one is pain. Pain of just what's going on, watching how events impact certain people, watching just the tragedy, seeing people cry, kids cry, families that are lost or have lost people. Compromise to worldview. This one is not necessarily addressed often, but with worldview is how we were brought up, our culture, things that our parents instilled in us. We take that along with us from day to day, and it kind of helps us make our decisions on day-to-day events. So when things happen that cause us to, or challenges our worldview, we tend not to speak up. Media. The media is the absolute worst advocate for making a change, for they don't provide all the information that's needed. They provide partial information, which most of the time is for ratings. They don't give us all the information that we need to make a good decision, which leads to my next one, which is the lack of knowledge. When we do not understand an event, a person, a culture, that lack of knowledge makes us be quiet, be silent, because we don't know how to engage or how to address a certain event. The indirect impact. It doesn't apply to me. It doesn't affect me at all. It's them. Let them deal with it. That's difficult as a Christian. Them is us. We're one body, and we should address things in that way. Then there's religious blindness. There are many cultures, different religions that are impacted by some of these events. But we're not supposed to look at them as a separate entity or a separate religion. Matthew 5:43 through 48 says, "You have heard what it is, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemy and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be the children your Father in heaven. He causes sun to rise on the evil and the good, sends rain down on the righteous and unrighteous." So we definitely need to overcome these different obstacles that cause us not to make an impact or speak up when something tragic happens in society. So what options do we have? What I've chose for university, college, or for any organization is first is just getting a team together. It doesn't necessarily have to be everybody's input, but if someone shows interest in it, we should get that team together. It should consist of definitely the upper management, HR for regulation purposes, and just like I said, those who just want to be involved and be able to engage our community. Another thing is to promote social change more often. One of our logos is God first in everything that we do, but when we actually take that step of faith to promote social change in a community, not just during Thanksgiving with the food drives and things like that, but on a regular basis, it'll impact us as a community. It'll show our students how we're working to also change the society. And as I mentioned in the first point, getting HR really involved. Believe it or not, HR is a leadership team. They are a management team, and through them, our ideas can be actually put into play. They have the tools, they have the resources for us to get involved. So with them doing their research and with our input, it can definitely make a huge impact on society. I also want to do a call to action. You know, after looking at a lot of the different opportunities and options that I went through with my case study, what I think would benefit with the group is that we would have a timeliness on addressing issues. Instead of waiting months down the line to say something, they will be able to maybe address something within days, maybe the following week, where we as a community can mourn together, pray together, or just address our concerns. Research, it gives us an opportunity as a community after events to do our own research, to maybe want to get involved outside of the school to do something. Having that ability to have information to research is a great thing to do for a call of action. And it gives us the uniqueness of presentation. It doesn't have to be a speech, it could be a video, it could be a skit. Having a team together gives us that flexibility to make things happen pretty much. I just want to leave with this. Religion has traditionally defined what it means to be a human. And it has defined the nature of our goals and relationships. We must be able to help our community and leaders and students to make a change in the world. So it is our responsibility as leaders in our community to address everything that we have here. I really, again, want to thank you for taking the time out and hearing my concerns, and hope that this will make an impact on you and our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it was 10 minutes.